you remember Phil Stringer, who spoke at Inman?
If you want to jump through a hoop of starting a business and do it in a country that you're not a resident of, it's a beautiful island, very different to a lot of Southeast Asia. Chewing gum is okay, but if you buy gum, you go into prison. There's no homeless people. So anyone that becomes homeless, they pick them up in the night.
And she's like, I don't know. She said something about a property management job. I'm like, I put that up yesterday at 4 o'clock. Somebody's at the office.
And I think so many businesses go through this whole process of finding amazing people, losing amazing people. The rest of my team is remote. So why should this one person not be able to experience that and take advantage of that? Yeah, go on.
I think this will really benefit people. So I wrote this down because I'm curious, where did you find freelancers? And we also gave quite a bit of tech and apps, things to support people in these times. I recently read, and we are back. The Business Brain Dump podcast is back. People have been asking where we've been. Well, we have been extremely busy. And today you're going to get a recap of where we've been personally, where we've been emotionally through the journey of our beautiful little entrepreneurial endeavors, our team structure. So
how much we've been crying.
Yes, all the tears, all the tears.
It's been 2 months, I think, because it was the last
Inman.
recording we did was at Inman, and that was in August. So welcome back, guys. Yeah, this is the Business Brain Dump podcast, and it's Jamie McAnally here and Andrea Coughtry. You missed our voices.
I brought the feathers and the sequins out for this. So
yeah, this is a great
jacket. If you're only
jacket.
listening, you're missing out on this jacket. It came in last night. I saw it on the Only Murders in the Building new season. And I was like, oh, I have to have the jacket. So if you're not using Google Images for fashion, use it. That's my pro tip for the day. Wow.
That's the way to do it. I'm wearing my bourbon top. I think I always plan this. I see my bourbon top and I'm like, we're doing a BBD podcast, so I'm going to chuck that on there. That's what Andrea got me when I came to visit last year in November. So it's a trusty top.
Your little goodie bag of Kentucky stuff.
Yeah, I love a freebie.
Yeah, which was not anywhere near the stuff you brought. I still dream about those cookies. Those cookies from Fortnum Mason.
Fortnum Mason. It is the place. Yeah.
So good.
So yeah, a lot has been going on in our lives. You've been doing some crazy new gym routine. What's been going on there?
It's funny because the last time it was kind of focused on Brian Johnson, which really snowballed into this health and wellness. So I started taking health and wellness and supplements a little more serious. I mean, I still like my debauchery, okay? I get in trouble from that with my trainers, but fine. So I wanted something a little more invasive. And actually, do you know or do you remember Phil Stringer, who spoke at Inman? He has, he does a lot of AI training. You called me about
this, and I had no idea who this guy is. So.
Yeah. You've got to look him up. He's amazing. So ran into him at Atlas Alliance, Mike Sherrard's event in Nashville. Walked by, almost didn't realize him, but I didn't realize why I didn't. I'm like, well, I've only met him like once. I have him on Instagram. And I'm like, Bill? And it was him. And I'm like, what have you been up to? We talked for a little bit, and then we were Instagramming and making jokes about like health and wellness and whatever. And it led to this path of him telling me about this guy who's changed his life. And he's like a full on, basically he's a life coach. But it's focused around getting your mental clarity, your sleep regulated, your mobility, your posture, your stress levels. Like it's very all encompassing of all aspects of life. And he focuses on like entrepreneurs and really busy individuals. So it's not like a program where you're doing 2 a days or 3 a days or fasting 24 hours. It's about having your mind and body in its peak performance. And that's not even, I'm working out hard, but like today was really hard, but a lot of the other days aren't as hard as some of the other workouts I was doing, but it's really mobility focused. So like I've really worked on my posture. My hips were really out of alignment. I've been sleeping better. Chris DeVecchio is the guy's name, and he is amazing. So the program's everything from my grocery list, what I eat, when I'm eating it, what supplements I'm taking with it, what I do in the morning, what I do in the evening. Like even there's on there days where it's like do a 20-minute Epsom salt bath. And I'm like, I don't have the time to do an Epsom salt bath before bed. Chris DeVecchio. And he's like, follow the program. And I did it once. And I was like, I slept like, so one night is like an Epsom salt bath. I've got these supplements I take 60 minutes before bed. So I'd take these safe cells and this magnesium thing, and then I have my Epsom salt bath. And then after, it's this core routine. It's like a traverse routine. I did this set. I slept and felt like I'd been at the spa for 10 hours. I was like, I've had this bathtub that I've never gotten in.
You've never used that bathtub?
I don't think I've ever used it. No.
Oh my gosh.
It takes so long to fill up. It's massive. It's like 2
There's
people.
no excuse.
Sarah commented on it and she was like, that's a cool tub. And I'm like, it takes forever to fill up.
Yeah. Well, I don't have a bathtub, so I'm very jealous. That used to be my thing. I'd go for a nice long run at the weekend and then get in the bathtub. But since we moved to this new place, that's not a thing at all. But this new routine, what I do like about it is a lot of people will go on these crazy fitness routines where they're following someone who's trying to do like marathon training or to be a pro weightlifter or something like that. Yeah. But these are people that just work in the office and have a very normal lifestyle. And actually, your mission seems to be with this guy is that he just wants you to be the kind of most brain optimized program as possible. I think for a lot of people, when they just get into the office or from whatever they've eaten, they just can't focus or get in that good mindset. So it sounds like this is a really good program. All these different vitamins and supplements that you take, I'm like, that is overkill for me. You've got this massive shaker. Yeah. I was like, I could not. That seems like a massive chore.
So this is my post-workout suppy powder. This is meal 1, meal 2, meal 3. But he breaks it up so that you're absorbing it and you're getting different things throughout the day, like throughout where you're working. But the food is amazing. Like my gut health has been so on point. And I can go out to any restaurant I want to eat as long as I send him the menu first. And then he will say, order it just like this and just have this. And so it's been really amazing and I feel great. And the thing is and it's only been like 3 weeks, and there's days where it's like I've been at the office and didn't have time to make it home. So I did run by Whole Foods and I keep it off the hot bar, like as close to what I would have had. So I haven't even had like a full 7 days where I just like crushed it and did exactly what he said. But my cognition, my clarity, my function is better, which has been, people are like, why would you jump in to do this at this time in my business where so much is changing? But it has actually given me the mental clarity and strength to pursue a lot of the hard changes and things that have been happening with Coughtry Enterprises.
So yeah, I think that's surprising. The Brian, what's his name? Brian
Johnson.
Brian Johnson. That one just seemed crazy what you were doing there. And I think perhaps for for longevity, that is the way to do it. But is that going to impact other things that are going on? Is it going to impact your business? Like, is that the best routine for what you're trying to do? I also think that by following or like at least paying a shitload of money for someone to tell you what to do, you're like, I'm paying the money now. I better follow what this guy says. It kind of
I haven't missed one workout. I don't miss the workouts. I've ordered all the supplements. I do the supplements. I would say I'm like 95% on. Like the one thing, and that he doesn't say like don't drink alcohol, but I definitely will have our wine nights on the couch. And so, that's kind of
80-20.
Not
as long
really
as 80% of the time you're doing it, you're good.
Oh, 90%, 90. Like I'm like, yes, I do whatever he says. I'm like, yes, Chris DeVecchio, you got it.
Oh, wow.
So tell me a little bit about, you just got back from Singapore.
I'm so jet lagged. This is...
Are you?
I'm terrible at jet lag. I think when we first met, when I came to America last year, I was so jet lagged for the whole of the conference. I need to come out like a week before to get onto the time zone to do it well, which is what I did this year. But yeah, I've been out in Bali for a week last week, which was amazing. We've got really bad weather in the UK right now, so to actually get out to somewhere that's warm and nice to be in was incredible. Went out to Singapore for another 3-4 days, which was very strange because 7 years ago now, I used to live in Singapore. So it's
and that's
so
where you
weird.
Launched your first business, right?
That wasn't my first business, but it was a business that I launched in Singapore, which if you want to jump through a hoop of starting a business and do it in a country that you're not a resident of, you are just setting yourself up for failure. So that was a great experience. But yeah, Bali was amazing. It's a beautiful island, very different to a lot of Southeast Asia. The money is like monopoly money. We're going out and buying meals, and it's 3 million, 5 million, and you just feel like a baller because you've got all these little $50,000 dollar notes, and you're like racking it up for 3 million. And the food is incredible. The people are so friendly. It's a crazy experience. You're kind of navigating through all this rough villages, and then you get to your villa, and it's just pure luxury. It's an incredible place to go to. You've been to Bali, right? You've been there before?
No.
You've never been? Oh,
No.
I highly recommend it. Yeah, we ended up going to some of the nice restaurants out there, going to the temples, Monkey Temple, which is great to see. But bugs are so bad. I get just attacked by mosquitoes wherever there are mosquitoes. So by the end of the trip in Bali, I've just been bitten to shreds. I think the mosquitoes found me, and they're like, there's nothing left on this guy. Let's go find someone else. So that was my only gripe about Bali. But apart from that, it was, beautiful place to go to, super friendly people, great food, and the money goes far. It's good.
I love that.
Yeah. And then Singapore was just a flash from the past, really. It's like
that's amazing.
Going there and just seeing old places that I used to work at, seeing my old office, just seeing how the city has changed over time. It's the city of the future. Like being in London, taking the tube, and every other day the tube is on strike or there's problems with the tube, it's dirty and things like that. You go to Singapore, the tube is completely self-driving, AI. The tubes come every 2 minutes on the dot, perfect timing, immaculately clean. Everything is like easy to get to, walking distance. It's just kind of set up to be this.
Didn't you tell me something about like gum there? What was the thing about gum there?
Yeah. So Singapore is pretty strict. You can't buy gum. I believe chewing gum is okay, but if you buy gum, you go into prison. There's no homeless people. So anyone that becomes homeless, they pick them up in the night, take them to Malaysia, drop them off. So you don't see a single homeless person there. Crossing the road, so jaywalking, is illegal. But I feel like they're not so strict there. I accidentally jaywalked in front of a police officer. So I don't think it's that bad, unless they come after me after this.
Yeah. He did not jaywalk.
No, it wasn't me. It was some other guy that we saw out there. If you smoke weed, they have the death penalty for smoking weed in Singapore. Any kind of drug. I know a lot of
people that shouldn't go there.
Yeah. And I believe it's also illegal to be naked in your own apartment.
How are you supposed to not be naked in your own apartment?
So if you're seen naked, so if you've got the blinds open and you're just out there showing everyone what you got, it's illegal. How crazy is that?
That's crazy. I just don't know who's doing that anyway, so.
You're not doing that? Okay, just me.
No, that's just you.
It's a very it's a very authoritarian place to go to, but you don't really feel it when you're there. You just see how immaculate it is. So yeah, we're going to get into the topic of team changes, or at least what's been going on this last couple of months. And there's been a lot going on your side, isn't there, Andrea?
It has been a whirlwind, like an absolute. Do you ever feel like sometimes with your business, it's just quicksand going through like a little strainer and you're just trying to like plug all the holes? Well, that's kind of been me over the last quarter. So Q3 hit us pretty hard. I mean, sales wise, good, income wise, good, team culture, good, all that's great. And, I had a property manager. It didn't work out. Her experience was more in leasing than the managerial side. But I took a risk on this. She made a lot of great changes. You actually worked with her some on the BBD. I was super sad to see her go. The managerial position was too much time, too much stress. And she wanted to take a step back. And I really didn't have but a position for someone to just do leasing or just do marketing. So our positions require, we're not a startup, we're a well-established company, but you're doing a lot more than just checklists. when you're working with Coughtry Enterprises. So it's some out of the box thinking, and you really have to be able to think for yourself and be a self-starter, and it can be really stressful in that regard. So that employee did unfortunately not work out. So I knew, and this will perfectly segue into something you were talking about, I knew I needed to hire another property manager, because at that time it was just myself and my admin, my real estate admin of 3 years, kind of just back out, gunslinging Wild West, taking care of everything from listing coordination, transaction coordination, we've got a great marketer, Kate, she's doing that virtual. She handles all of the Coughtry Enterprise side of marketing, but she's virtual. She's actually going to be in person today, which is cool. She's in from university. We picked up all that property management, and normally when someone quits, they've quit. I knew she was quitting a week to 2 weeks before she quit, and I probably should have stepped in then, but I was so busy with everything else that we had going on. So when she left, Josie and I jumped in, my employee of 3 years, and we took over. And it was like nothing ever happened. We're plug and play. She ended up, Josie, having to move to Louisville, which is a little too far for someone to be an in-person 9 to 5 employee. And unfortunately, the admin position, who I've been trying to get to grow to a director of operations position, that's an in-office 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. Our transaction coordinator, I need to be able to meet with them in person. So we decided it was time for both of us to make a change, and it went really well. We killed it for those 2 weeks, but I waited too late to hire that property manager. I didn't post the job soon enough, and I knew I needed to, and I could have had a lot more time to pull someone in and train them. But it was pretty much when she gave me that, all right, let's do it. And we were both like, let's give this 2-week notice so we don't keep holding on. Let's cut the Band-Aid in 2 weeks and move on. So I immediately that day put the job up online. And if you have not used Wise Hire, WIZE Hire, it is a great service. My forward coach, Debbie DeGroat, suggested it to me. I put the job on Wise Hire at like 4 o'clock in between appointments. The next morning, I was at my house. I don't want to say crying by my pool about all the changes. I'm like down a property manager. My admin's leaving. I'm by the pool. We 48 hours ago, we were just killing it. We were in Nashville 3 days before, blowing it up on this team event, having a great time, bonding with someone who just said, I've got to leave. I've got to do this for my family. And I respected that and loved that. And I've known that we needed to make a change for a long time. So this was the best thing for me, because like we've talked about before, sometimes I take a push to go to the next step. And that was the push that she and I both needed to, say, hey, this position requires someone with a different skill set at this point. The company's grown to that point, but it was hard. So I'm sitting there by the pool, just like, we've got this beautiful scenery. You've been to the house, like I'm out there, the sun's shining, the water's flowing. I'm just like, gosh, what is going on? What is my next step? What do I need to do? And at that time, Josie calls me and she's like, hey, there's someone here for you. I'm like, who? And she's like, I don't know. She said something about a property management job. I'm like, I put that up yesterday at 4 o'clock. Somebody's at the office. So someone came in the office with their resume. I was like, I need to talk to Andrea. I'm here for the job. And I'm like, what? So brilliant. I'm like, just give them my number and whatever. And so I'm back by the pool like, okay, universe, thank you for that sign. She calls me right away. And she's like, hey, I came to meet with you about the position. My company just sold out that I was working for Monday. And I put this job up on like Wednesday night. And this is like Thursday morning. And it was just perfect timing. So I'm like, well, I'm going to be in the office, and I had an opening. I'm like, we could meet at this time. She's like, I'll see you there. So she comes in and she's been in property management for 10 years. Our system's a lot different, so it would still be a learning curve, but like she has a lot of the foundational elements we were missing in that role she had. She was so energetic. And this is like a point to people, take the initiative. Like I had 40 some candidates and most of them, I look at the resume, the DISC assessment didn't match, but everything that she did was just above and beyond, which shows me like she wants the job.
She's going to work. She's going to go above and beyond that. That's the sort of person you want. I like how this all kind of played out, because I think for a lot of people when they think about starting a business or kind of creating something for their own, they only see the good bits. They're like, it's going to be brilliant. I'm not going to be kind of working 9 to 5. I'm going to be chilling out, making money when I sleep. It's kind of, they see the great bits, and this is exactly like the shitty bits that you have to go through. And I think so many businesses go through this whole process of finding amazing people, losing amazing people, and it's a never ending cycle. Like, this is going to keep on happening as you keep going. There's going to be many more tears being shed at your pool as
It's
you
a
keep
great
growing
place.
Coughtry
It is a
Enterprises.
beautiful place to cry. It was stunning.
Especially when you
Birds
have
are
an espresso
chirping.
martini in your hand. That's the way to do it.
I can make a good espresso martini. You can vouch for that. You make
I
a great gin and
100%
tonic.
agree.
You make a great gin and tonic. I
Mine's
make a great
easier.
espresso.
Gin, tonic. Yours requires a bit more skill, but it's so I like how this all played out. But the fact that you found someone so quickly is incredible. And I was saying, like, you need to slow down, you need to take your time and find the right person, because we went through such a kind of long process in finding our AI engineer last year, and it was because we rushed it so much, because we didn't really understand what that role is that we wanted. But when you've got someone that is there, that's eager, that's the sort of person you want. You want someone hungry. I think also for your role, it like you say, it's a property manager, but a property manager at Coughtry Enterprise would be very different to one that's working at a much larger company. They need to have that initiative, thinking on their toes, problem solving. Like, it takes a different kind of person to find that. So that's been crazy. And then so you found your property manager, and then you're also looking for an operational manager. That's the other role you're looking for at the moment.
And that one, I'm very, very much like, so, when our new property manager came in, it just all cylinders hit. And when I called her employer, I mean, it was like ranting, raving, like just a huge fan. And sometimes you get, it was like, I wish I'd had more time to work with her. That company had sold out. So everything was great. And what was so weird, I believe everything's meant to happen for a reason. Well, she comes back in for that interview. I'm walking around the office, introducing to whoever was here working at the time with the team. And one of our new agents was in there studying for his course. And I'm like, oh, this is Coco. She's like, Coco, my husband was your basketball coach. He was like, no way. So they knew each other. Come to find out, she grew up in the same town as my mom. It was just like all these little things that kept on. I'm like, this is good. This is good. So
wow.
Immediate culture fit. So we did the due diligence, the resume, called the previous employers. And I think it just, sometimes I do believe in gut feeling, and sometimes I've done gut feeling, like, hey, this is a risk, but it's a risk that's calculated. It's okay. It's contained. Like with the previous manager, it was like, if this doesn't work out, her focus was in leasing. And at that time, we had like 8 to 10 leases coming up. I needed someone, and she leased the hell out of those. Like, she did that job, right? So it's like, but we needed the manager. Like, I need the manager.
Yeah.
And this is what she's been training. So my days have been very hectic, just making sure she and I are like on the foundational elements, working together as much as possible. And that's what Josie's 100% function was when her last 2 weeks was helping onboard Sierra.
I think that's great. And I think we did a little exercise when I was over in Kentucky, like visualizing what the next 5 years would be like for Coughtry Enterprises. And it certainly feels like this is a key role where you need 100%. To find the right person, make sure they're taking on as much as possible for property manager. So it's really exciting. It's good.
I'm really excited. So you've had, because I could go on, because Josie was the listing coordinator, the transaction coordinator, and my admin. So right before she quit, 2 to 3 days before, she was like, I've got to do this move. I walked in the office, and at Lifestyle, my brokerage, Eli Hadid, the founder of it, has another company called Close Your File. And I never had any interest in it because Josie was my extension of me for 3 years. Like, she did it the way I wanted it done. It was this is how Andrea does it. This is how we want it done. But if you remember, I was really struggling to get her to adapt tech. So instead of me saying, you have to rise to our systems, I was falling to her comfortability of what system she wanted. And I think that's something, as an employer, you can't always come down on other people's levels. I think you have to take those cues serious. When you're trying to scale and trying to grow, someone has to be willing to learn and implement those systems with you and be a part of that team. You can't be at a culture lock where it's like, well, I really can't adapt this expensive tech that I'm paying for because someone in the team won't get behind it. whether that's your agents, your admin, your staff. I know you see that on you being a tech company, but I walked downstairs and I went to Amy, who runs Close Your File, and I was like, by chance, and I won't say amounts, how much do you charge to take a file from offer to close? And she told me, and I was like, why haven't I been doing this for the last 3 years? One, I wasn't at Lifestyle. And two, I needed to have my system. I was like, I'll pay you this much to run it through my system. And I introduced her to our back office tech, and she was all over it. So we are fully integrated online, transaction coordinating now in under a week. It has been, that shift alone has changed my lives, and the agents are loving it. She's loving it. She comes to all of our team meetings. So it's been great. But the key position I need now is that director of ops, the person overseeing and handling and streamlining the processes so I can do my job. Because right now I am very much, we talked about the email, I'm working in the business, not on it.
You're sucked in. It's a difficult one.
Yeah. But what about you? I know you had some changes too.
Yeah, I think when we met up, it was trying to work out the timing of everything now. So when we met up, it was July, or was it August? I think it was August.
August, yeah.
So I was coming out to America, and part of that trip was to see one of my team members who was based in America. And we had such a nightmare, like trying to get this guy onboarded and everything. So it was a real kind of painful process on the onboarding. And then I think it was the weekend prior to me leaving, I got a message from him saying, "Oh, hey, Jamie, can we talk?" And I'm like, "Oh, I know what this means."
Yeah.
And it was a concern. Like we're all based in Europe. We're all in a similar time zone. And we had this one guy that's kind of out by himself in America on a very different time zone, 8 hours difference. So he's waking up. He starts his day at 6 a.m., which is 2 p.m. here. So there's only about 4 hours overlap with the guys in the UK and Europe. So it's a very difficult setup. Yeah, it was just, we kind of felt like something was going to happen at some point, and then it did. So unfortunately we lost one of our guys, and he was really hardworking, like a really good fit for the team, really experienced. So it was a real shame to lose him. And in the moment, you're just pissed off. You sat by the pool with your espresso martini crying.
Yeah.
And it's like, why does this need to happen? Why can't everyone just keep working away and we can just focus on making money, making progress? But that's just not the way that business is done. Small business is done. It's all about setbacks and learning from them and making progress. So that was a real bummer, especially as it was kind of part of the trip. We still hung out and spent time together, and it was I drove up to San Francisco in a Mustang and hung out with him.
Yes, okay, that's who you were hanging out with.
So it was really good, and like totally amicable, and understood the reasons before it. Like, and actually it really helped me work out, do we need this person in this role? That was really helpful. And then I think the only other change we've got is one of our team members who is in London is relocating to Spain. So he's actually Spanish. He's one of our AI engineers. So he's moving to Spain later this year. And when he first mentioned about it, I was like, again, like, why can't we just keep things as they are? Because this is a distraction from actually making progress. But it makes total sense. And also, you want your team to be in the best environment for them. The rest of my team is remote. So why should this one person not be able to experience that and take advantage of that? I was skeptical about it, but we gave it a go. He went out to Spain for 3 weeks. Someone in his family was having a baby. So it was a good way to kind of put our toe in the water and see how this works. And actually, it worked incredibly well. I think it made me kind of reconsider the way that we're kind of building Autoenhance and where it goes. Because when I started Autoenhance, I felt like at some point we're going to have an office, and we're all going to be in the office, and it's going to have ping pong tables and pool tables and be like your classic tech. Yeah, exactly. Be like that classic like tech startup office environment. But because of COVID and how we created the company, it was remote first. We've benefited from that. Like the team are working at different times and they have the flexibility. They're with their family. And, if it's not broken, don't fix it. It's working super well. And when he was out there and working remotely, he felt like he could engage with more of the rest of the team than just me. Because when he's kind of with me in the office, the first person he talks to is me. If he's got a problem, he's going to talk to me. If he's got an idea, he'll talk to me. But when he's got equal access to everyone else on the team, he's actually speaking to the most relevant person on that topic. So it meant less distractions for me. He got more value. He actually got a better answer than just asking me and me making up an answer for him. It worked really well. So we're going ahead with it, and we're excited for how it works. And regarding one of our team, the one in America that we lost, we started to experiment a bit more with freelancers. So we'd always done this in the past. Like we've got a small role that we need done. We find a freelancer, we do it. With what he was working on, which is very kind of experimental AI techniques, having someone full time, you're actually at the mercy of thinking, I need to think of something for them to do, which is then a distraction for the rest of the team. And the value that they're delivering it's not immediate. It takes time for that to be implemented. So we kind of had this backlog of items that he was working on that we couldn't get into the system because the timing just didn't work out. So since he's been gone, we've been trying out with freelancers who are highly specialized in those tasks, and it's been working really well. We've got kind of a few experts we've been reaching out to. We do very small tasks, like we'll set the task on a Friday, and these freelancers love working at the weekend, so we get the work by Monday, and then the kind of core team can take it from there and move from there. So it's actually worked out really well from us to have this kind of ad hoc setup rather than a full-time role. Yeah, go on.
I think this will really benefit people. So I wrote this down because I'm curious, where did you find freelancers? How, because I really love to bring that type of value. Like what, you know, let's say somebody's in a similar position as you, and either they've lost someone or they just have specialized projects and they can't afford to pay someone. Where and how are you finding that?
Upwork is the place to go to.
Okay.
So we, Jakob, who's now our full-time web app developer, front-end developer, who's been with us for 3 years or so, he was from Upwork. So we needed someone to work on our website. And I can't remember who told me about Upwork. I went on Upwork. I messaged a bunch of freelance web developers, jumped on a call with this guy, and I said, hey, we need this work done to the website. Doesn't need to be done till Wednesday next week. I'm talking to him on, I think it was a Thursday or a Friday. And then on Saturday or Sunday, I get a message from him saying, oh, Jamie, I finished all that work. Have you got anything else you want done before Wednesday? I was like, this is the guy.
That's amazing.
And then we just kind of slowly did more and more tasks with him. And then we're like, we need this guy full time. So Upwork has been my kind of super find of freelancers or anyone that I need on certain tasks. The one area we haven't been able to find a good person on Upwork is a designer. We've been trying to find a designer wherever we can. We did find one that was really good, but then his prices just went ridiculous.
What's that other side? Is it Fiverr? Is that the other one that people get Fiverr. A lot of that type? Fiverr. And there's one other too.
Fiverr's pretty good. So Fiverr, people kind of sell a service. So they'll say, hey, I can, I can create a TikTok video for you and it costs this much. Whereas Upwork is, I am a video editor and one of the things I can do is a TikTok video for you. So it gives you're finding people that have the skills and then you're setting the task. Whereas Fiverr is like, I do this service and you can hire me to do that.
At that price. Okay.
Yeah.
I think both of those are really helpful though for people in that position that we've both been kind of looking for help.
I think if you're looking for someone that is hungry, no one is more hungrier than a freelancer who literally is paid by the hour. So they're going to do that work. They're going to, some of them will work weekends if they're that hungry. Like these are the people that are going to get shit done.
Get it done. Yeah.
Yeah.
GSD. To wrap up, I want to say something really quick. The funny thing about both of our stories that I wrote down, so I wouldn't forget to mention, is how both of us, in each of our scenarios with the employee changes, we were so against change when our entire lives, like that's what we do. Like both of our careers, our jobs, with our entrepreneurial endeavors, like we're changing things every day. Our days are different every day, but we hold on to those things that are steady, and we hate when those change, because I felt that from both of our stories.
I think it's also your, I don't know, for me it's really the focus, when I'm so laser focused on something and then something is not, like, it's a distraction to me. That's when it's frustrating, but actually you need to sometimes work through those, because you need to be thinking long term. Like this, this person wants this change. Yes, it's not something that you thought about a month ago that you need to focus on, but actually it's something that you need to sort out because it's time critical. It's a decision you need to make. And as people running a business, like you're making decisions all the time. And I think there's a good story that Jeff Bezos talks about, and he says there's two different types of decisions. There's one-way doors and there's two-way doors. And you need to work out if that decision is a one-way door, like you go through that door, you're not coming back. It's those sort of decisions. Or is it a two-way door? So something like one of my team members moving to Spain, he can move back. It's a two-way door. So it's very easy to be like, let's give it a go. Let's try it out. And then we can make that change later on. So I think that's always a good thing to think about when you've got these big, important things that are coming out.
And we also gave quite a bit of tech and apps, things to support people in these times. I recently read Who by Jeff Smart, Geoff Smart. That really has helped me in my interview process. It helped me with my interview with Sierra, getting more comfortable with that. I would recommend that book. I recommend Wise Hire, WIZE Hire. And I know you use...
So LinkedIn Jobs. I recommend that to try it out. We hired an AI engineer at the start of this year. We got 2 in the end, and we put the listing up on LinkedIn Jobs. I can't remember how many people we had, but I did 25 interviews at least with people through LinkedIn. So that worked really well. It was quite affordable. Upwork as well for finding those freelancers. I like to find potential people that you could hire on Upwork as well. So they will say they're freelancers, and they love being freelancers. But when you show them what they could be part of, they're keen to try out being part of a team. So I highly recommend
community.
that. Yeah, exactly. And I think a book recommendation I can make is Rework, which is from the guys that created Basecamp. Basecamp went from a kind of non-funded startup. I think they sold for like 100 million or something crazy like that. And they talk about those principles. When you are, as a small business, premature hiring is something that kills a lot of businesses. So really thinking critically, like, do I need to hire this person? What would happen if I don't have that person? Like, do I really need to replace someone in that role, or can I do it differently? And that's the approach we had when that happened earlier this year. So I highly recommend checking that book out. And
so this has been the BBD. We're back in business. We are streamlining our processes, and we will have a lot more coming soon. If you guys have any questions about any of our structures, any of the apps we use, anything, just drop it below, or email us and let us know how we can help.
Hit us up on social media. Thanks for listening, guys. It's been a great one.
See ya.
See you later.